Greetings. I just want to go over some of the details about your paper. What we're doing is a position paper, meaning that you're going to look at both sides of the paper and the topic. And I have 4 topics here for you to select from, and this is what I need you to use for your topics. We're trying to keep it in line with what we're doing in the course. This paragraph here goes into great detail about some of your sources and including the format down here, which is important. And we're going to talk about APA and why the details of this assignment is important. So make sure you read that over. Going back to our course homepage, you see I put some notes here. On my research paper, I spent a lot of time, in my final paper, a capstone paper, I spent a lot of time researching. Now, you won't need to spend as much time, but hopefully you've started to look into your topic already, or you're going to real soon here. We need at least 4 to 5 sources. You can use your textbook, but it'd be nice to have other sources other than your textbook, because your textbook just gives you some basic definitions and basic information. APA is important for standardization and on the road for publication. But for the most part, that layout and style that I laid out and I defined in the assignment is important. The spacing, the text, everything. It's all there for standardization. APA does allow for footnotes, but I want citations and in-text citations. General information about your sources, something from 2000 or better, just something more current. I'd like you to stick to the .gov and .edus if you use websites. And if we want to skip ahead here, no Wikipedia, no encyclopedia.com or dictionary.com. I don't want basic information or definitions. So do not use Wikipedia, encyclopedia, dictionary.com. And you should rely heavily on paraphrasing, meaning no more than 1 to 2 direct quotes per page, and you shouldn't have block quotes page after page after page just filling your space with quotes. You need to work on the paraphrasing. I gained a link here for the OWL at Purdue. It's an excellent writing resource, and we'll let that come up. But there's a lot of APA help there, formatting, styling, so you can go to the OWL at Purdue, get yourself your APA guidelines. Moving on, some tips I just want to give you is I don't want any stories, so don't start your paper off something like, oh, imagine if you're in prison, or imagine if this. No, we don't want stories. We just want it to be facts. State the issue, state the facts as they were have been researched and studied by our scholarly sources. History should be a very minimum. More than 1 or 2 paragraphs is about all you should have on the history maybe of a topic. We want more about what's happening today. You can avoid using first person language like I or we, because you're looking at research. It's not your opinion on mandatory sentencing. It's the research. Samaha states, whoever you've found done the research, they state, they say, they've studied, not I feel this way or I believe. It's not a first person paper. Slang, we're finding more and more that people are using texting language when they email people, when they write papers. Don't use slang, or do not use slang. I have to correct myself here when we get down here to contractions. It's just better grammar if you say do not instead of don't, or cannot instead of can't. So stick to using the whole sentence and not using the contractions. It's a formal research paper, so that's why you want to write formally, not use slang, and scholarly resources. People have asked already, what is a scholarly resource? A class textbook is. There's published books on all of these topics. Peer-reviewed journal articles. Those, you'll see from our links below, are going to be some of the more important ones and some of the ones that you could use more on this paper. We also have government-based websites, which I have links to coming up. Things that you should not use. Magazine articles, Time, Newsweek. A magazine article is usually an opinion or an editorial and not research. So stay away from using these sources. Newspapers are the same thing, and again, are generic .coms, no Wikipedia, things like that. So we want web pages that are based on research and education. And you can find these sources right through our UW-Platteville library, the criminal justice sources. When you're off campus, though, it's going to ask you about a proxy. That is just using your UW-Platteville username and password. It's different than getting onto the course. This is what you would use to register, to do your advising, things like that. So it's the UW-Platteville username and password. You can use these sites. CQ Researcher is an excellent site to start with because it does give you pros and cons to all kinds of topics. Again, we have a couple that are .govs. The Criminal Justice Reference Service is just that. It's a reference service. It's got all kinds of references for you to start with. And same as the Bureau of Justice Statistics. We got some more APA links, but I think the OWL there is going to be one of the more important ones for you to use. Now all of this, all of this is on our page. We have the writing tips here, and you can get those links off of there as well. All right, again, if you have any questions or if you'd like to email me your sources or anything like that to check before you get too deep into this, please feel free to email me. Thank you.